You're listening to the Breadcrumb Mojito podcast, hosted by Connor Whale.
Hollie, welcome.
Thank you.
Water?
Have you? Yes, please.
And would you like a cocktail as well?
Oh, well, go on then. Might as well get the day started.
Yeah, why not?
Never too early to start.
Exactly. Pineapple chili margarita, peach martini, or coconut gimlet?
I'll go with the pineapple and chili mark. I'm going a little bit classical on that one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
This is one of our top sellers.
That's good.
Finish it. Why not? Perfect.
Perfect. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, kick to my start of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing better than a little bit of tequila in the morning
Yeah,
or
exactly.
early
Yeah,
afternoon.
keep me awake.
Well, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Exactly.
So I tend to normally start with origin story.
Yep.
How did you find yourself in hospo? Where did that journey start?
Yep. So my journey in hospitality started like 13 years ago when I first started as a waitress in a pizza place in Portugal. And also at the same time, my mum was building a boutique hotel back in the UK. So I started help running that with her when I was young. So that's how I started. First steps of hospitality began. After that, I journeyed through places and bars in Portugal. And in UK, when I went to university, that's when I started first doing more cocktails. I worked in a bar called the Earl, and that's where I was first introduced properly to the classical cocktails and the cocktail industry. Kind of worked my way slowly but surely through that. Then after uni, I went off traveling. I traveled throughout South Korea and Australia. When I worked in Australia, I worked in numerous bars, hostels, did a bit of everything from bartending to housekeeping to being reception leader. So, but it was actually New Zealand that really brought out the cocktail side of me and my passion for cocktails out of me. So yeah, that's how it started. And when I first came to New Zealand, I actually worked at a bar called Andrew and Providore.
Yeah.
So I started there. I worked my way up, and I eventually became the venue managers there. And I was taking care of those places for a year and a bit. I also along the way, I started working part time. Just need the extra money at the time at the Royal Yacht Squadron, which is a bartender there. And then after that, I ended up in running Tallulah, which is what people might most know me for, which was a tiki bar back in the day. And I really enjoyed that, and that's where I really got to bring out more of my creativity and do my own originals and stuff.
Yep.
And then after that, I worked in numerous bars and venues that was in our company, from Italian restaurants to a wine bar. And then I helped design Portside, which was a premium cocktail bar at the time. Unfortunately, as people know, it's no longer there anymore, unfortunately. But for the little short time that it was open, I really enjoyed it there. And all the cocktails on the menu were mine. So that was really fun. And then now I'm working at Hyso.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Bit of a change.
Yeah, bit of a change. Definitely.
Beautiful view.
Yeah, beautiful view, definitely. It's more obviously focusing on the hotel side of things, but I always said that I wanted to work in a hotel rooftop bar and give it a go and just see how it was going. So, but I've got a lot more freedom there because my manager Harry there, he's very easygoing and a good guy, and he kind of just letting me do my own thing in a way. So I already got a couple of cocktails ready for our next menu change. So. Nice. It's been good.
Yeah, and it sounds like the hotel side of things is in the blood as well.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah. I guess, like I said, help the little boutique hotel. But I've never done 5-star hotels before, so that's definitely new. But it's interesting to see.
What is it that appeals to you about the hotel style bars?
I find that there's just more opportunity for you, as a person, in your career. I think it's always important to have more options out there, especially as everyone knows hospitality has been struggling. So I think it's good to have just a little bit more leeway with that.
Yeah.
And then I guess I always wanted to be on actual rooftop. So technically I've worked in rooftops before, Tallulah, but it wasn't really a rooftop. So yeah, and I enjoy whenever I stay in a hotel. I always go to the hotel bar and just have a little drink before I go out for dinner. So
why not?
Yeah, it's nice because you get to chat to the bartenders and stuff. So I'm hoping that eventually with HISO, like, will be those type of places people are going to have a chat with us. And then, like, in the summer, hopefully we'll be pumping with both the hotel guests and the public. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, nice. So, Portuguese born?
English born, but I was raised in Portugal, most of my life. And I've been going back and forth throughout my whole life. My mum actually currently lives in Portugal. And then one of my sisters live in the UK, and my other sister lives in Dubai. So we're all kind of dotted around the place at the moment.
A good spots to be in, like, if you like hospo and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of things to see, a lot of good things to eat and drink.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely miss my little, the little dive bars in Portugal, a little bit of fun there. That was definitely, like, part of my, like, childhood growing up, But I definitely love, like, the mixology cocktail side over here in New Zealand. And obviously, like, I know we're a small sector over here, but it's nice to see, like, all the talent that's out there that we all know of, and that it's still expanding. And there's also, I've noticed a lot more recently, more women coming into it, which is really nice for us females, because it's, no offense, always been more male dominant.
Yeah, a bit of a boys club.
Yeah, so it's quite nice to see more females coming forward and showcasing their talent. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's I've never been to Portugal, but what is the style of bar that's most common over there? What's the drinking culture like?
Yeah, so with Portugal, definitely. So I'm like from like the south area, Algarve. I live in Lagos, and I was brought up in Praia da Luz and Bigao. Basically, they're more definitely classical down there. Like, and boozy, like all their cocktails, like, they don't use jiggers, everything's free poured. And like that's what I grew up with, like, was free pouring. Definitely, like, standard espresso martinis, daiquiris, mojitos. They love their frozen daiquiris over there, and frozen margaritas. You'll find that in a lot of bars.
Hot climate.
Yeah, exactly. And all the climate, and they love the absinthe. There's always absinthe in some of the cocktails. I'll tell you that much. But so definitely down south, I'd say it's more party cocktails. It's more definitely we're on holiday vibes. But definitely in the north, I've noticed more like the bigger cities like Lisbon or Lisboa, as they call it in Portugal, and Porto. There's definitely more cocktail oriented bars that are actually focusing on the higher end quality of cocktails. So I think if I was to move back there and like carry on my mixology side of things, I would have to probably go to the capital, because that's where it'd be more like doable. As like I said, the bars down south more just focus on classics, and then a little bit of a riff on classics. But let's just be honest, they're probably just throwing a random syrup in there and calling it whatever. So
boozy, sugary, citrusy.
Yeah, basically.
There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how the drinking culture is there.
Yep.
Like I said, definitely down south more party vibes, and then up north a bit more like general the culture. But also the Portuguese are known for their wine and their port. So a lot of like the older generations, you just see them drinking the wine and port, I'll be honest with you. So
yeah, I mean, port, it didn't come to mind, but yeah, massive
it's
port
big
culture.
over there, yeah. So
is there a when you see port served in New Zealand in, like, your little glasses and everything like that, is it pretty? Is the same in Portugal? Or do they have
definitely.
A different style?
No, definitely. Like they have like small glasses they serve them in, or like look like brandy type little glasses. I think it depends where you're going or what restaurant, bar you're going to. The customer that's getting it. Some like if they're local and they're like regulars, they'll just like, and they know the owner of the place, I'll just give them a bottle of port on the table and they'll just drink from it, like, I just think it depends where you're from and like where you were brought up,
Yeah. And I guess like, if it's a tight little village or local sort of spot, everyone kind of knows everyone. A little bit like New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a small town, especially where I was brought up in, like, so I call it the Algarve because that's like the area down south, that's what it's actually called. But I've the three main places I grew up in was Bigao, Luge, and Lagos, and they're all like right next to each other. But Lagos was like the party town. That's where all like the backpackers go and party and stay in the hostels. And definitely there, like, it's a small town. Like, you can literally walk 2 steps to your left, there's the next bar. You walk another 4 steps to your right, there's the next club. Like, everything's on the doorstep, and that's why everyone, like, usually the night like life there, you kind of start like pre-drinking with your friends wherever you are. You go out for dinner, then you start going out from early as like 10:30 is when they usually tend to get going, and you can go up until 6 a.m. They have clubs open till 6 a.m. over there. So if you really wanted to go hard, you can keep going. But yeah.
That would be a good spot to go on holiday then.
Yeah. It's, like I said, party town.
Yeah.
But that's what I like more about the up north. It's more, I'd say it's more cultural than the south.
A little bit classier.
Yeah, a bit more classier. So, yeah.
Nice. And you said the Earl was where you started learning sort of classic cocktails and things like that.
Yeah, so I went to Bath Spa University in Bath, and I obviously needed a part-time job. You know, I was at university, needed to get the money. And it was actually technically had 3 sections to it. So it had the Earl, which was the main cocktail bar. Then you went outside onto the deck, and it was the terrace, and it was the shisha area, because we sold shisha. So I was actually taught how to do shisha when I was back then. And then downstairs, like later on the weekends, was a nightclub called Second Bridge Nightclub. But it was all part of one company. And my actual first boss was a guy called Alex, and he was the one that first taught me all about free pouring and like the classic cocktails. And like he would just randomly come in and be like, Holly, pour me 1 shot, pour me a double. And that was kind of like how I was tested. And also my like bar manager at the time was a girl called Eden. She was actually only like a year older than me, but I really looked up to her because she was the boss like of the place. She was like the queen bee. And she like got me behind the bar like as soon as I started and just started showing me everything. So it was good fun. Obviously those type of cocktails to probably like what New Zealand's used to is not like the usual, but back then, you know, I really enjoyed it and it was really good fun, you know.
So what kind of classics were you doing? Are we talking like martini, Negroni, all very bartender heavy, stock standard sort of stuff?
Yeah, basically like typical stuff. And then we had like our menu, and we had like our own like twist on classics. Like we even had like a zombie classic on there. We had like, you know, the obvious like not my cup of tea ones, but things like Blue Lagoon, you know, like things that people liked and loved, you know, typical daiquiri. But we had like, it had Sex on the Beach, but it was like layered with different like styles. But and a lot of English Gardens. That's a massive drink in the UK. Like classical cocktail that people love is an English Garden. They were massive when I started there. I remember this one function in particular. My boss Eden came up to me and she was like, "Can you make me 50 English Gardens as soon as possible?" And I had to, like from scratch, I just had to bash them out as fast as I could. I never worked so fast in my life. But yeah.
I've never made an English Garden. What's the recipe?
So it's like gin, cucumber, you know what? I can't actually remember the full recipe now. It's like
been a while.
but it's been a while. But like it's because we had our own version of the English Garden. It wasn't the classical version. But it's a very refreshing gin-based cocktail.
Okay.
Just think like a mojito, but with gin.
And cucumber.
And cucumber, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It sounds pretty standard. I think we've all done like a cucumber mojito at some stage in our careers.
Exactly. So, yeah.
So how, like, now that you've gotten into sort of the more creative realm of designing your own cocktails, most of us have essentially taken a classic and then we swap out an ingredient or two and we just play around with it and riff on it. Do you sort of have your own structure, or is it kind of started from that and then developed into your own style?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely started from that, like taking 1 or 2 things out. Then, like, as time's gone on, I've more, like, changed the whole cocktail completely. Then, in a way, it's like an originality, and it's no longer really a riff.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what idea I've got and what drink I'm trying to tell, like the story behind it. And like, is it for a cocktail competition? Is it for a menu? Like, it just depends on what vibes I want to go with.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I like learned from other people, was to start on a classic and then turn it into like your own riff and then work your way from there. And I guess like just to see what type of flavors you want to like incorporate into the cocktail, or which spirit or liqueur you would prefer to use rather than that one. Or even bringing in things like wine and stuff. It just depends, you know? So.
Wine's a great additive to cocktails.
Yeah, they're always good.
Brace yourselves. It's sponsorship time. I know ads can feel like the Broccoli of podcasts, but today we're talking about the Bar Society, a company I own and operate. So think of it as supporting my broccoli farm. This goes out to all cocktail lovers and hospitality pros. Are you ready to elevate your drinking experience? Introducing the Bar Society, New Zealand's leading clear ice supplier. Whether you're stirring down a classic old-fashioned or crafting the perfect gin and tonic, there's no substitute for crystal clear ice. Not only does our ice look stunning, but it also melts slower, keeping your drinks colder and your flavors perfectly balanced. From home bartenders to high-end establishments, the Bar Society's here to bring your beverages to the next level. Order today and see why we're trusted by the best bars and restaurants in New Zealand. Visit thebarsociety.co.nz and let us transform your drinks. The Bar Society. Elevate your drinking experience.
I love using making things with shrubs and cordials. That's always been my go-to. And then my favorite technique is an old school clarification. I do love a clarification. Most of the cocktails I've done are clarification, so just by default. I don't know.
Cut from the same cloth. I love a clarified cocktail. Clear ice, clear cocktails.
Yeah,
they go sort of hand in hand with each other.
Yeah,
that's what I've always liked. I like clean. I like classic. I like simple glassware.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple, stupid.
Definitely philosophy. More on the simpler side, but I definitely tried to go more out there with my garnishes.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been trying to get them a little bit more photography wise, it stands out. Someone sees it in a magazine, So
yeah, we're definitely in an Instagrammable world.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like a garnish does help get that sort of attention and eyes on it. And intrigue people.
And definitely the color of the cocktail too. People are sucker for blue, green, purple, red, pink drinks. As much as some of them are fake as hell, people want what they want, So
I mean, it's the old line: you eat with your eyes.
Yeah,
and it's the same with drinks. When you get a cocktail, so many people in a bar, they see a pretty cocktail walk past on a tray to another table, and they're like, "I'll have that one. That looked cool." No idea, haven't read the menu, no idea what's in it.
That was cool. Simple things like that. When I was actually went to Jacuzzi recently, the new venue that's open in Ponsonby, and they've got this Porn Stars 75 on the menu, and it's garnished with bubbles, and the girls have to all the staff have to take it to the table, and they have to make sure the bubbles are staying on the drink. Straight away, it's eye catching, and when I was there, I could see all these people just what's that? I want that, definitely catches the eye.
yeah, for sure. So. You mentioned cocktail competitions.
Yeah.
Have you done a few?
Yes, I have done quite a few. I've done a few with 1919.
Yep.
I did one with Sandy Mount. I did the Contro Margarita Challenge. I did Italicus as well. I'm wanting to enter the Reed later on this year. Unfortunately, it's not come to New Zealand, but I was wanting to do the Florida Cana, but hopefully eventually we'll do something with that. And then I've done a cute, small little mini competitions at Rocket Man. Vince, the manager there, likes to do little hospo things on Sundays, and he always has done these few little competitions. So did one with Campari and stuff, and got really involved with that. And then I also judged a little cocktail comp with my friends Gina and PJ, as you all know in the industry. And it was really cool that I got to do that because we did it with Arret Tequila. And that was really fun because obviously I've never judged a competition before, so it was nice to be on the other side of things. But,
Did that give you any sort of different insights into how you think about your own drink concepts?
A little bit, yeah, I think. Obviously that was more of a low-key, chiller cocktail comp. It's not as serious as others.
Yes.
But it definitely makes you realise what the key components are that you need to focus on when making your own cocktail. And that, it stands out from others.
Yeah.
And, as the more I'm doing cocktail comps, the more I'm starting to realise, where my strengths are and where my faults are. So definitely just got to work on that to progress to, winning, basically.
Yeah.
So I've won one and, came second or third in a couple of them, but I'd like to obviously win more big ones.
Yeah.
I think the one that I was most good about was actually Contro. I didn't get through to the second round of that, but I realised it was because it's very international, and they clearly had I think I would have liked their feedback, for example, on my cocktail, just so I know for future reference. But yeah, we'll see.
And it's been years since I've been involved in a competition, and back then you didn't really ever get any feedback at all. Is feedback more common nowadays?
I would say, I wouldn't know internationally, but definitely in New Zealand it's more common now, and I think it helps because we're such a small city and everyone seems to know one another. they are more likely to give you feedback, especially if you know who the judges are. They are willing to give you that feedback because they know that you want to like succeed and like improve always. So I think that definitely helps. And I'm still waiting on it, but it's hopefully coming soon. The 1919 comp, they said they were going to send through all their feedback on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what. Because I came second, so I literally just missed the top spot. But I'd like to. I mean, I already know what one of my faults was because I spilt one of the drinks basically.
Okay.
And the garnish on that one that I spilt wasn't as pretty as the other one. But it would be interesting to see what else, like when it comes down to the taste and the flavors, what they say was on it all.
Yeah. What are sort of like the top 3 things that you always keep in mind when you're designing a cocktail, especially for a comp?
So definitely for competitions, the product itself. At the end of the day, you're there to showcase the product that's going to star in your drink. It could be a gin, it could be rum, any of whatever chosen spirit it is, that's one you got to. So make sure that you're showcasing the product for sure. And do more research on it, because definitely in the past, I didn't do enough research on the brands. So now I'm starting to like make sure that I prep that before I go into the competitions, For me as well, definitely like the flavors that I use. I just want to make sure that they will go with one another. There's some flavors and textures out there that just don't work well together. So definitely keep in mind what flavors you're using. And I always have, like before I go into a comp, I always kind of write down a recipe of what I'm kind of hoping to do, or like a plan B if that doesn't work out. That's just how I work. I like to go in a bit more prepared because I for my cocktails, when I design them and make them, I always think ahead and like think of what, come up with a couple of recipes before I actually make it, because I struggle to make it from the get-go sometimes. Whereas some other bartenders I know can just make a drink like that. For me, I can, but it's not what I want. So that's why I like to go in a bit more prepared.
Needs to be a little fine-tuned.
Yeah, exactly. And then probably the third one, as I said before, I love a good garnish. And my glassware. I always feel like it's important to choose a good glassware that's like, when you're creating that garnish or that cocktail, it's going to look good and look right on there. So definitely like garnish in your glassware. But there's so many like aspects to it. Obviously they look for everything from the texture, flavors, presentation, your hygiene. That's definitely a massive one that's increased recently, and they always seem to write that down in the specs, like hygiene.
That's something that probably gets a little overlooked by different people. Like, when they're tasting with straws or something and dipping the same straw and multiple glasses, and that gets noticed by professionals.
Yeah, it does. Or like even simple of washing your hands before you start. Like, and then keeping your station clean. So like, some competitions I know it's weird because when I'm behind the bar, I always keep my station clean. But like, I guess because you're like in that moment, and also your anxiety is kind of going through the roof because you're trying to make a fast cocktail, a good cocktail to present to a judge. Definitely, I think you sometimes miss that little tidiness and cleanness. So for me personally, I want to work more on that, like for competitions, because I do have an issue where my anxiety gets the better of me, and I think that's what happened in the 1919 comp. I spilt my drink because my hands were shaking. So I definitely need to try and reel that in so that when I do it, I can just bash it out.
And a lot of that is just like, time on the stage.
Yeah.
Essentially, like you get a little bit more used to it. It's always nerve-wracking.
And time, that's the other thing I would say. Always, like, if it's a very big, important, especially if it's international cocktail competition, make sure that you're timing yourself, because time is always in there. Like 10 minutes, you have two drinks to make sure it looks good. Also, don't do it too quick, but then also don't do it too slow that you miss the time.
So do you tend to do like rehearsals where you'll just, I don't know, set a timer up, make your drink and do your spiel, and then watch it on a camera or something?
I have in the past. I mean, recently, I'll be honest, not as much because my schedule's been a bit all over the place. But definitely, if you have the time and the commitment, definitely do it. So like I said, in the future, when I do more like bigger comps, that's something that I'll definitely like take the time to do.
Yeah. Nice. What is so on your menu cocktails now? You've by the sounds of it written a few menus now with Portside and now Soho and things like that. Do you have some of your own signature favorites that you
Yeah,
sort of
so
keep adjusting
yeah.
and modifying and trying to make them what you envisioned?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, basically, with Tallulah, back when we were the Tiki Bar, we used to do a happy hour. So it was like 4 till 7. And every day I would do 3 or 4 different cocktails of just like swapping out things, like the simpler ones, make a classic, but make a different syrup for it, like a strawberry, rhubarb or something like that. Definitely did that quite a few times, like until it was happy hour, and there was like definitely, and then like I made a yuzu Tom Collins. That was a pretty big hit, like a little riff on the Tom Collins, and that's definitely not, I wouldn't say a signature, but it's one that I remember because so many customers loved it, and it always sold out.
And it's easy to go back to.
Yeah,
Simple
exactly.
recipe.
And then also on the actual Tallulah menu, there was a Tallulah grog. Originally, it was made by someone else that worked in the company, but I tweaked it like as time went on.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed that drink, and I'm actually doing this tiki bar takeover at Rocket Man on the 20th of July.
Cool.
Which I'm quite excited for, and I'm bringing that grog to the menu just because I really enjoy that one. It's kind of like an old fashioned meets a treacle cocktail.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited. With Portside, definitely. So when I was coming back to the garnishes, I made this like little honeycomb toulet, which sat on the drink, and the drink that was for was called Tyler's Nightcap, and it was very whiskey forward drink with honey and orange bitters, like simpler flavors, but like that work well together. And it was like a stirred down drink. That was probably one of my favorites. And then also when I first did my 1919 cocktail competition last year, I made called the Strawberry Hat, and it was like amaretto, rum, orgeat, grapefruit, and I made a raspberry grapefruit foam and garnished it with dehydrated raspberry.
Nice.
And that was a big seller on the menu. So, and I just called it the berry hat because the idea with that was I was going to change the berry out each season. Fortunately, I only got through to 2 seasons, but but still, that one was like a signature of mine. I would say it was pretty popular. Tyler's Nightcap, as I said.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
Great name, especially being on Tyler Street.
Yeah, exactly. It made sense, I went with the ring. And also my inspiration with that one was that when after work, I just want to drink before I go home, you go for a nightcap. And like my place is obviously was always good to like caretaker or Rocket Man because it was on my doorstep. So definitely like that was the vibe I was going for that one. I had quite a few other cocktails that were pretty popular. A Mother's Love, that was another one. It was like gin, blackberry, lavender, and cinnamon.
Nice.
Infused drink. Yeah, and I made it. It's actually inspired by my own mother. So it was like the flavors that she likes and like flavors that I was surrounded by like growing up with her. Like there were these like lavender fields near where I used to live in the UK. And we used to go walk the dogs there when I was younger a lot. So it was kind of like an inspiration for it. So that was pretty popular.
Nice.
So definitely those 3 like caught out to me. But there was so many on the menu that like I really liked. But with Hyso, I'm very new there right now. I haven't actually got a cocktail on the menu, but I have got one coming up. So we're doing this activation with Macallan. I created a cocktail called Harmony and Hive using the Harmony whiskey. So I'm quite excited for that one. That will be on the activation. And then I've recently been doing this project with the Subali using their whiskey-infused Manuka honey.
Nice.
Yes, it's really cool. I'm doing this project, and it's for Cuisine Magazine. We actually just did the photo shoot on Thursday for the 3 cocktails that I did. And one of those was like a tequila, passion fruit, chili, and honey cocktail. And that's it's been approved that I can put on the menu for summer. So that I'm quite excited for. And then the 3rd cocktail that I actually designed for it was like I called it the Golden Monkey. It was like banana, chocolate, honey, and a fat washed chocolate rum.
Nice. What fat?
I just used so it was actually inspired by the Crunchy Bar. So I used the chocolate from the Crunchy Bar and infused that with plantation dark rum. And I just let it sit in the fridge in the freezer for like 24 hours, which is pretty yum. And then the honeycomb left over, I also made a honeycomb using the whiskey infused Manuka honey, and I combined the 2 of them and I reduced them down to like a syrup, and that was used inside the drink. So I'm actually going to clarify that next because I didn't get around to clarifying it before the actual shoot, but I'm still pretty happy with the one that I brought out, but I'm wanting to see how it's going to taste clarified, and I'm going to clarify it with chocolate milk. So we're going to see how that goes.
No, a chocolate milk punch.
Yeah.
That's quite good. I didn't bring it today, but we do a strawberries and cream milk punch.
Yum.
And we use strawberry milk to curdle.
That's a good one, yeah. So
It gives it a beautiful, beautiful flavour. And
Yeah.
I like the sort of sustainability aspect of using the crunchy bar, getting the fat wash, and then reusing what you've taken off the top and turning that into a syrup as well.
Yeah,
which
well,
is
obviously, in this, like trends right now, sustainability is a massive one out there right now.
Yeah.
And obviously reusing all your components. And that was the big part of when I did the Contra Margarita Challenge. It was all based on sustainability. You had to basically pick a fruit and then use that whole fruit from the skin to the stone, you know? So it was like with this cocktail, I was trying to get that sustainability definitely in there and reuse it. And then with the leftover crunchy dust that I had, I put that with the tequila cocktail, so it got used up as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. They all sound delicious.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about them. I've got to write up the article for them, but yeah.
No, that's going to be great. And having a cocktail and cuisine magazine is, everyone kind of wants to do something like that. Everyone that's a career cocktail bartender.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's something that I think it's been really fun, like an exciting journey.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how it comes out on the magazine, and also to see the other mixologists and the chefs, because it was a chef and mixologist project.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see like all the products that come out. But yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Love it.
Here we go again. It's ad time. But don't hit that skip button just yet. Today's sponsor is First Class Cocktails, another company that I own and operate. So technically it's less of an ad and more of me shamelessly promoting myself. You know what's better than a great cocktail? A great cocktail with no effort. Meet First Class Cocktails, New Zealand's premier provider of premium bottled, ready-to-drink cocktails. We're talking about perfectly balanced flavours, made with the finest ingredients, and all you have to do is pour, sip, and enjoy. From timeless classics like the martini and the old-fashioned, to bold new creations like our pineapple and chili margarita, First Class Cocktails ensures every drink feels like a first-class experience. Whether it's a night in or a party out with friends, we've got your cocktail game covered. Order now at firstclasscocktails.com and raise your glass to effortless luxury. First Class Cocktails, because every moment deserves to feel first class.
And so, on the creative aspect of things, you're in like a, say, head bartender sort of mindset where you're focusing on the drinks, but now you've transitioned career-wise into more of a management level. What are sort of some of the differences you've had to, or some of the changes you've had to make to adjust that mindset to think more about the bar instead of just the creative aspect?
Yeah, definitely. Good question. Yeah, definitely. So when I first came to New Zealand, I definitely was like, started just as a bartender here, but then they quickly made me a manager because it was during COVID and a lot of people were leaving. But they also saw like the potential in me, which was good. And I've always said that I wanted to be like a team leader and like I want to eventually have my own place and run it one day. Like that's always been my goal.
So leadership is somewhat in the...
Yeah, it's always been, I think, in me. I think it's because I get it also from my mum. She was always like a big leader growing up and like a big inspiration for me. So I definitely think like, definitely with cocktails, like I love cocktails, like it's my passion. But when it comes to like running a venue, running a team, there's definitely many other aspects you got to think about. And also depends where you work. Some places like really like you have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of jobs you get given, and you just don't have that time. I think at least with my new job that I have more time to focus on the cocktails at the moment because I'm not the one running the bar fully. Like that's Harry. I'm like his 2IC right now.
Yep.
But I know as time goes on, I've said to him that I want to take on more responsibility so he can like chill back a bit more and not always be doing everything. But I think it's just trying to have that balanced work life. But obviously we all work in hospitality, so that's never like easy as it sounds. I think the best way around it really would just like what's your priorities and what's your priorities for the team and the business. You kind of have to weigh up like what you want to do and what you want to sacrifice. Because I definitely, with Portside, like I had 2 weeks to create the menu. I was given 2 weeks. Like it wasn't, in my opinion, unkind at all. But I did what I could in that 2 weeks because I wanted to have a menu that was like good. Obviously, in an ideal world, I would have liked longer and it would have been more perfected. But I knew that as time went on, I could just make tweaks to the cocktails as I went. So you can always sit, like, that's also something to remember. Like, even if your menu doesn't look or seem as perfect to begin with, you can always adjust it as you go, you know? Especially, and you can always get people to help you with that. Definitely, yeah, it's just having a balance with life and trying to suss it out. But it's definitely being a manager and then just doing cocktails. It's two completely different things.
Yeah.
And it as well, being a manager, like for me, the team's important, and that's always been like a key factor for me. So like making sure that my staff are okay and are doing well, or have the opportunity to do things, or supporting their ideas. That's definitely a big aspect on that. But then obviously it depends where you work. So like I've always worked with corporate companies. So at the end of the day, they just care about the profits, to be honest with you. And the image, obviously. So you do have to keep that in your head, that I still need to really like make sure that the business is pumping, you know, and going. And that was really unfortunate thing with Portside, is I think long-term wise we could have got there, but I just wasn't given the opportunity. And from the start, the marketing wasn't there. And I think that's in the end what failed it, unfortunately, along with the fact that we were above a sports bar, and to get to us, you had to go through a sports bar, and no one wants to do that when they want to go to a cocktail bar. So
Exactly. You know? So it clearly sounds like you've noticed some turns that could have been made differently. To make something more successful. It's quite an interesting experience, starting with a venue and it not working out, and being able to be sort of an objective observer. To know, okay, this was a mistake. We would not repeat
I mean,
that
I've moved on now. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And, you know, it was, when it happened, it was like heartbreaking for me, because I really put my heart and soul into that bar. But I have like learned from it at the same time, and from the people that I worked with and alongside with, and like including the upper management, like, you know, I could see as a business perspective why the decision was made. And I completely understand that. It was just obviously unfortunate for myself and others. And like for the, you know, I finally was getting like regulars and like customers that knew us, and people like from hospitality, you know, but I think you just gotta learn and grow. So that's why I'm kind of hoping with HISO I can get a bit more aspect on the business side of things as well, because I'm not just doing a bar, I'm working in a hotel. So it's nice to see from all perspectives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
for sure. What's in terms of like the leadership and management sort of side of a bar, what do you think is one of the most important things to always keep in mind when you're running a team and leading a team?
Definitely, like, make sure you get their respect. If you don't have the respect of your team, they're just going to walk all over you. But also just making sure that you have a strong stand, and that you make them know that you're in charge, but at the same time, you're there to support them. And you just have to keep, like I had to with like past employees, had to like relay that I can't just think about one thing, I have to think about several things, you know? And as I said, the business part is a big aspect to running a business. And obviously if you're the one in charge of running this bar for the higher up people, they expect you to do your job, and if you don't, then you're going to be knocked out, you know? So I definitely, you just gotta, for the team, I think when you first go in, for me, it's important just to get your surroundings. Like figure out what the place is, figure out the clientele, you know, what the menu's like, what you see, and like I always, for me, when I look at other like people that I work with, I see, not trying in a harsh way, but I see like the pros and cons. I look at what are they strong at, what are they weak at, what can I help them with, what can they help me with, type thing. And it's the same with like cocktails. Like when creativity, I always think it's good to give others opportunity to have a cocktail on the menu, but at the same time you want to obviously help guide them, make it more, you know, balanced if it's not. So definitely that aspect as well. And then once you've like settled in, that's when I'm like, I will start noticing the things that could be changed or improved. So like already at my current job, there's like, I've got a great team, love the team, but like I could see where there could be improvements for like the teams themselves, or like where we could do better as a bar and stuff. But at the same time, I'm not there yet to change things because I came in more to help to run the day-to-day operations. But I know if I have an idea or something that I want to brought up, I can bring it to my boss and they'll hear me out. So I think in time, there'll be definitely points where I want to do that. And then obviously the cocktail side is I definitely want to bring cocktails onto the menu. So
nice. I am always a fan of, I've made this mistake myself, that I come into a bar and I come in hot.
Yeah.
And I start changing shit straight away because, the bartender ego gets the better of you. And you think, I fucking know better than these people.
I think we've all been there somewhere, to be honest. I've been there.
We all make that mistake. And now I think about it much more from an approach of, I break it down into 3-month segments. And I'm like, for the first 3 months, I'm just going to do everything the way that it's already done.
Yeah.
And that gives me time to figure out what can do better. And then the next 3 months, we start making some changes. And then the final 3 months, I want to be able to walk around and not be able to pick shit out that's going wrong. And you can fine tune some little things. Maybe you come up with an idea and it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be willing to change it.
Yeah, because I don't want to go in there guns raising, because that's what, especially with this new job, no one knew me. I went, my previous jobs, people knew me or knew of me. And then I actually got this job, thankfully to Cal, that works at Panacea. He was actually the one that recommended me to his friend Harry, that works at HISO. But I knew going in that I have to also remember it's not just a bar, it's a hotel as well. It's something I've never done before. And then I also had to keep in mind that I'm not the boss going in, which was a little bit a bit of a punch to the stomach. You work so hard to get to the top. But at the same time, the reason I took this job was that I wanted to have more opportunity and to see, to learn from others. And hopefully in time I will be, the top dog, but in a good way. I'm in charge way, just I want to be that level so that people are inspired by me. I want to be that one to be inspired by. Because at the moment, I'm always feeling I'm inspired by others, but I haven't really got that. People say they find me inspiring, but do they really? They probably know me for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to make a name for yourself, but at the same time, I also want to be known for this venue is really good because I got it to that point, And the same with the team. I want my team to flourish. I want them to grow and develop, and also not be afraid to come out of their comfort zone. There's definitely a lot of bartenders out there and waiters and stuff. They just stay in their little spot and they don't speak up. For example, I actually worked with this girl at Tallulah. She was lovely, flamboyant. Customers loved her. She was fun. She was energetic. And, there was times I thought she had a lot going on back home. And you could see it was starting to affect her work. But she didn't really want to talk about it, obviously, for obvious reasons. But, I knew she had it in her to be more and to do more. And then now, she's actually got onto a new job and she's flourishing. She's doing so well. I see her and, she's grown so much, and, especially in the cocktail wise. I'm not going to say who she is, but she actually works at Caretaker, and she is, she's stepped up. She's always, because I always said I wanted to work at places like Caretaker, and I never got that opportunity, unfortunately. But it's nice to see people that worked with me have been able to do that. So
never say never.
Yeah, never say never.
There's always a chance.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not like it's a bar that's going to go out of business anytime soon. It's so well known, so reputable.
Yeah. I would love to work at Panacea too. Just getting out there. But yeah, no, definitely. You see a lot in hospitality, and definitely working, and also different countries. I've been in New Zealand 5 years now. But before that, I've worked in Portugal, the UK, Australia. It's all very different and different aspects of it.
Where were you in Oz?
So Australia, I was mainly I did the whole East Coast, but I was mainly in Noosa and Alley Beach.
Nice.
So definitely Queensland was my area.
Yep.
Definitely, if I was going to go back, I would go back to Noosa in a heartbeat. I adored Noosa. For me, that's another home for me that I'll always go back to. I worked in the hostels there. I was the team leader for the reception. And I occasionally helped out in the bar, so that was good fun. And I also I do photography as a hobby, so I was also like the photographer for the bar, so that was kind of good fun for a while. And then in Alley Beach, I started on reception. Then I moved to the bars that we had, and then I also did some housekeeping when the housekeeping manager was away. You could say I get my clean freakness from my mum, and they saw that in me because I was always cleaning my room and cleaning the dorms. And there was this one dorm all the staff had left and they hadn't bothered to clean up after themselves, so I cleaned the hell out of that place, and they were really impressed. So after one shift on housekeeping, they're like, "We're gonna put you in charge whilst I'm on holiday," and I was like, "What?" And this was a 700 bed hostel, and I was like, "Okay." And I had a team of 25 people, and I was like, "Okay," but I managed to get through it. It was only for 2 months. It was short and sweet, but it was a good experience. So.
And it definitely sets you everything about that screams a future in sort of hotel management.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that is also in me. I don't really talk about it much since I've been in New Zealand, because obviously I was so focused on the cocktail side and just running a venue, and being a bar manager, venue manager, working my way up. But it's definitely something that's in me. I think I get that from my mum, because I learned that from my mum. But at the same time, I adore my cocktails. So it's you can't have both worlds, in my opinion. So I think in the long term, I kind of just have to see where I go with my current new step in my career. If it doesn't go the way I plan, then I'll just have to, sit back, rethink, and hopefully do something else. But also the problem is I haven't got my residency yet. So visas is always an issue for me at the moment.
Yeah.
That's also another factor with general hospitality and doing all these jobs. I have to think about my visa situation, where I'm from. It's always a pain in the ass, but
visas are annoying and expensive.
And money. The money for it is so expensive. And they keep increasing it, and that's what's scaring me the most. I'm always almost there, but then they increase it, and it's
I feel the pain. We've got a guy that we have we're accredited. And so have purchased tokens to bring immigrants over to, work for us. And we've got a friend of ours that's coming over, and just paying the bills to immigration is it's scary every time you get
all that savings gone. In a blink of an eye.
And, at the start of the year, you kind of have a budget of how much it's going to cost. And then 6 months later, because you've had to wait for things to get approved, it's, up another $1,000 or something. You're like, fuck it.
Since I arrived, the residency's gone up. I started off 2.5K, and it went up to 4.5. Now it's 6.5. They keep increasing it by 2K. So I'm scared next time I go to look, it's going to be 8.5, 10, and then I'm screwed, because then at that point I can't afford that. At that point, I'm going to go home.
You got to marry yourself a Kiwi boy.
Yeah,
Get the
I'm going to have to marry someone here. But I never want to be that person. I need you for my visa. I don't want to be that person.
Find the right man.
Yeah, but I guess I got lucky because I was an accredited employer with my old job, and then this new job had a bar, they had a token basically, and they were like, "We can take you on." So that was the only way I could take this job, but I got lucky. So.
All right, team, it's that time again. Sponsor advertisement time. Look, I know ads can feel like one song on repeat, but today's sponsors are the Bar Society and First Class Cocktails. If you've listened this far through the podcast, you already know that they're two companies that I personally own and operate. So hey, if you're rolling your eyes, at least roll them over to our websites and get ready to take your cocktail experience to the next level. Imagine this: First Class Cocktails premium bottled drinks paired with the Bar Society's crystal clear ice. It's a match made in cocktail heaven. Whether you're hosting a dinner party, impressing guests at a wedding, or just treating yourself to a well-deserved drink, these two brands will bring you everything you need for a flawless pour. First Class Cocktails delivers unbeatable flavor, while the Bar Society adds the perfect touch of elegance with slow-melting, pristine ice. Why settle for ordinary when you can create extraordinary? Head to firstclasscocktails.com and thebarsociety.co.nz to order today. Together, we'll elevate every sip. First Class Cocktails and the Bar Society. The perfect pairing for your perfect pour.
Yeah, nice. Now, I we talk so much about, and I talk with everyone about sort of the high stress, the management side, the leadership side, the creative side of all the cocktails and things like this. But one thing that maybe a lot of bartenders don't talk about is the outside of work life and how to keep the sort of balance, how to de-stress and things like that. I've had quite a few conversations in Loretta from Healthy Hospo. We talked a lot about how, you know, when hospo people finish work, we just get on the piss. And we live a relatively unhealthy life. There's not a lot much else going on because all of our friends are also hospo.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them are day walkers. And so how do you achieve sort of that work-life balance?
Yeah, well, basically, so definitely, so when I first came to New Zealand, I didn't have balance.
Yeah.
I was working like 6 days a week. I was working late nights. I worked in a bar. We were open till 4 a.m. Like, it was long time. I would actually go home at like 5, 6 in the morning, and I would go to bed till like what time, and then get up, have some food, chill for a bit, get ready, and go to work again. It was just like repeat. So my first year here, like first couple of months here, I didn't really have a balanced life. Obviously, then COVID happened. That changed the course of the world, as we all know. And you kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I was bored as hell. I hated COVID. Like, everyone else is like, oh, we have to be at home as well. But I'm a doer and a mover. So I always do things, I move things. So like even like currently now, my current job, like because it's winter, it's quieter, like the hotel's quieter. And there's been times I'm just bored. And I hate being bored. I want to keep moving, do things. But definitely, well, time went on, you know, I actually, when I came to New Zealand, I did a 2-week like trip around, you know, the usual backpacker stuff. And then I actually ended up in hospital, unfortunately.
Oh.
And it turned out I had gastritis. And they basically told me that I'd partied too much, basically, and that I wasn't healthy. And that was kind of a big scare for me because I was in a country I didn't know. I didn't know anyone here. I had no family, I had no friends. I had like 1 or 2 friends, but they were working in hospitality, so they couldn't come see me. And then it just kind of was like a wake-up call for me for my fitness and my health. And then that's when I started going to the gym. So people that know me well know that if I'm not at work, I'm at the gym. And that was because of that incident. It kind of brought that out of me. But I've always been sporty, like growing up, that I got from my mum. You know, I did golf, from surfing, football, hockey. I was on all the school teams. Like sports is always an aspect of me, you know. But I never did the gym until more recently. And then I actually got into powerlifting. I got myself a trainer. He trained me, and because I had like this, like, I guess, strength in me, he pointed me to powerlifting. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a go. I'm not sure if it's for me, but I'll give it a try. And then the last 2 years, like, I've been basically doing that, like, as a hobby. So, you know, training for it. I've done a couple of competitions.
Nice.
It's been good fun. I've kept it going. The only unfortunate thing, obviously, they don't prepare you for, which you should prepare for, is an injury. So, unfortunately, last year, I had an injury, and it pushed me way back. And I haven't been going to the gym as much as I'd liked. And, like, recently with, like, all the changes that I'd been making in my life and career, it kind of affected my fitness side, unfortunately. I am currently in the works of getting a new program sorted and getting back on it. And I'm also wanting to more focus on like the weight loss side and the cardio side. But we'll see how it goes. So it's definitely, and then another big thing I would say is relationships. I've obviously, when I first came to New Zealand, you know, like I just recently broken up with my Australian boyfriend, and you know, living the single life and stuff. But then I got into a relationship like with a guy, a Kiwi guy, that was short lived, and then I got into a long term relationship with my current partner, and we've been together for like a while. And yeah, it's just trying to find the balance between like your work life, your hobbies, your socials, like everything. It's definitely challenging, I would say. And as a manager, especially when your workload goes up, like especially my last job, like I was going home and I was taking my work laptop with me. I was doing work from home for free. Like, it was just something that's always been like, I'll always do work for free. Like, it's always something I've always done. Like, they always say don't do that, but it's like, I'm a workaholic. It's hard not to, you know? And obviously I could see that like my partner would get annoyed because I'm now like always doing stuff and not spending enough time with them. You just gotta try and find a balance, I guess. But it is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. And I still haven't quite got that balance yet, I'll be honest. Especially with my eating. Like when you work in hospital, you either don't eat or you just eat what's at work. You don't really cook. And I'm not a cook. I'm going to be honest, like I love creating cocktails, but I hate cooking. And if I do, I'm
funny how that's different.
Yeah. But like I'll still do some cooking, but it's for a cocktail. That's it. You know, like that's
I'm
as far
cooking
as
a
I get.
syrup.
Yeah, I'm like I'll make a garnish that's like I'm tempering chocolate and all that. But I actually don't enjoy cooking. I just do it because I want that final, product to come out, or that drink, or but yeah, it's definitely challenging. We'll see how time goes on, but definitely haven't quite got that figured out yet. Well, we're slowly getting there.
I love the powerlifting aspects. That's great. You having done a couple of competitions, 3 of the guys that work for me down in the factory in Hamilton are all powerlifters. And they do comps. One of them's off to Costa Rica for Worlds in a couple of months. Like, he's 18, dude's an absolute unit. Like, he's 3 times the size of me. Absolute weapons. So they talk about it all the time at work, and they show me videos of, like, all of their friends powerlifting. Because it's the 3 Olympic lifts, right? Bench, deadlift, and squat.
Yeah, they're the 3. So you always start with squat, then you bench, and then you deadlift. You finish your deadlift. So that's like the order it goes in.
Yeah. So in terms of the training, are you just training those 3 lifts, or are you doing a whole bunch of other stuff that's like accessory to support those lifts?
It depends. So coming up to a comp, yes, your focus is on those lifts. So I'd be training like 4 days. My training goes down to like 4 days a week. I'd be doing like 1 day of benching, 1 day of deadlift, 1 day of squats, or like 2 days of squats, because squats my weakest. And then like have like other exercises in there as well. But I only be doing small sets. I'd be doing sets of like 3 to 5 reps. It would be like, because I'm going heavy. But like when it's off season, as you guys all call it, I guess it depends what you're trying to focus on, or what aspects or what areas you're trying to improve on. And also you definitely need to still have more some cardio in there, but not too much, because obviously with strength you can't overdo the cardio, because when you do cardio you lose strength, because you're losing weight, which you're actually losing strength and muscle. It's like a whole thing, the scientific side part of it, but it's so like I actually at one point was training 6 days a week. That was a lot. But it was like I challenged myself to do it whilst at like work. I'd go before work. It was usually when I would go, but it became a lot. Like, it was too much. And then 5 days is like the norm. 4 to 5 days, that's like the norm. Recently I've been more doing 3 days, because my schedule's kind of been a bit up and down, and I'm trying to like my body's trying to switch over to my new like schedule at my new place, because it's like different hours to me. Kind of different hours, but I start basically a lot earlier than I would in my previous jobs. So I need to just kind of like figure out when I can fit in that training.
That's always the hard thing for anyone in hospo, is when do you go to the gym? Is it before service or is it after service? And like trying to juggle that.
I've done both, to be honest with you. I have done both.
What do you find easier?
Definitely before now. I think when you were younger and you have more energy, like especially when you're like your early 20s, like about like 18 to like probably 24, I would say. Definitely, like, if you have the energy and you can go after work, you can do it. But getting older now, I'm like, no. Like, I'm after work, when I finish work, I want to go home and I want to go to bed. I want to put on my Netflix and go to bed. But definitely now before. So I always tend to go between like 11 and 2, depending on my like schedule. But I'm trying now to be that more of a morning person, to go earlier, because my shifts start earlier now. So it just depends. But if I have like a late shift, so like sometimes I used to work at like I wouldn't start till 5, I would go like 2 p.m. Like stuff. And then what was handy is my gym's right next to where I work, pretty much. So I would just go from the gym, get ready, and go straight to the work. So
do you find it helps clear your head to sort of prepare for a busy shift when you go before work?
Yes, a little bit. I mean, it depends what the shift is, Like right now we're in winter, so it's quiet as hell everywhere, to be honest with you. But definitely, like, if you've got like a big function or an event, or like you've looked at the bookings and we're fully booked tonight, like, definitely get your mindset ready. But I'm also like, I'm the type of person that when I get there, I just do my job.
Yeah, you just
so I don't
take
really
it as
care.
it comes.
Yeah, I am also that person that, like I said, I easily get bored. So I want to keep going, keep moving. So like, if we're busy, it's actually good for me because it means I'll keep moving. Yes, people get a bit stressed out, and yes, there'll be mistakes made, or some staff member will shout at a chef. Like that happens in hospital, but it keeps us, going, and also speed. Like speed's a massive thing when it comes to bartending and cocktails. And I think my only worry in my current job is that I'm going to lose that speed a bit because it's been so much on the quiet side. Yeah. But I'm hoping in the long term, like I'm just keep reminding myself, like it's winter. It's still new, and like hopefully we'll get there. So
I've talked to a couple of different people about this, and because I've experienced it myself, and I'm curious to know if you experience the same. I make so many more mistakes when it's quiet, but when it's busy, I'm a bit like you. I'm a doer. I'm a goer. I will have a primo service, no mistakes. When we're getting absolutely reamed. But as soon as we have a quiet night, fuck, I put the wrong thing in that cocktail. Fuck, I forgot that order. Yeah, they ordered olives and I forgot the olives. I always make cock-ups when it's a quiet day, and because your mind isn't.
Yeah, I think, because when you work in hospitality, especially, like, your mind is set to a certain like standard and procedure, and I guess it depends where you work, how busy it is, the clientele that you're dealing with, also and what your position is as well. Waiter to a bartender is very different. A manager to a bar back is very, very different. It's definitely it has its pros and cons, as they say. Obviously, at the downtime, though, you can do stuff. You can create stuff, at least in that quiet time. So that's what I've been trying to do more recently, is use this quieter time to either create a cocktail or come up with an idea, or, as my first thing that I was always taught, some people hate it, but it was what I was taught, if you can lean, you can clean. I will find something and I'll clean the shit out of it. But I also don't actually enjoy cleaning anymore because I've cleaned so much in hospitality. I'm over it, and I'm like, I'd rather someone else do it, and I'll just be on the laptop doing something. I've got to that point now where I'm like, I'll still do it, but I'm like,
when you come up through hospitality, the time to lean, time to clean line gets used so many times.
It does.
Jeremy from Bedford, when he was on the podcast, his line is, "Do you want a shit job? Because I'll give you one if you don't find something else to do."
to do. Yeah, pretty much.
That's fucking brilliant.
But it's hard though, because when it is quiet and then you have cleaned everything or you prepped everything, it's like, what do I do? And then you feel bad on the staff. So even times like that was a challenge as a manager. Sometimes was finding staff tasks, like when it was when everything's done or you think it's done, you're like, what do I do? And then that's the point where you want to be like, I have to send them home, but then you're like, but they're like, I don't want to get in my hours and things. But then at the same time I have to think about the business, and I'm like, but I need to think about my wage costs, and it's like, it's always like a back and forth. Back and forth, basically yin and yang.
Exactly. You got to find that healthy balance with the staff, because you never want, for your staff to succeed, they have to be able to sort of thrive in their own world. To even have the energy or mindset to come to work. And when you've got to think about wage costs and you cut them early and they're missing out money and maybe they struggle for rental bills and things like this, they're not even going to come into work with the right mindset. And so, it is hard trying to find that balance sometimes. You want to keep everyone happy. You want to keep the bosses happy. You want to keep the staff happy. You want everyone to be happy, because ultimately hospitality is about service, and you give great service when you're happy.
I think it also comes down to the personality and the person as well. For some people it's just a job to them. They're just there for the money, and
they can't wait to go home,
and they can't wait to go but then others, like, this is like me, it's what I do, it's my living, it's my career, I have nothing else. I don't even know what I would do if I didn't do this, obviously having ideas what I could do or would do, but this is the path I've chosen. And then there's also something you have to remember when you're leading a team, is the morale. You need to keep the morale up. And if the manager's down or acting out or being aggressive, I've seen that quite a lot in hospitality, it affects the team. I'm like gonna say like whom, but there's someone like I recently worked with, and they had some aggressive issues, and I saw it, affect other staff, and it's just it's not on. Like, you're supposed to be there to lead your team, and if you can't deal with your issues and put the team first, then why are you a manager?
Yeah.
Like, why are you running this business? Like, I don't know. But it's definitely a interesting aspect.
Yeah. In every aspect of life, in every job site, I think there's always a combination of people. Some aspire to be great leaders and they naturally follow that path because that's their personality. And then you have other people that aspire to be a boss.
Yeah.
And it's less of the personality that gets them there, and it's the ego. And they want everyone to, kind of be their slave, for lack of a better term. And it is, it's quite a learning experience, a learned experience from watching, managers that manage poorly and, aggressive and things.
You see a lot in hospitality, and even like on the chef side of things. That's interesting to watch from front of house, tell you that much. And then when you see a manager argue with the head chef, and you're like, chaos is beginning. This night's going to be fun for me.
When the head chef and the restaurant manager and everyone are bickering, it's a slippery slope down for everyone to have a very rough night.
And you're like, tonight's going to be fun.
Exactly. We'll finish up real quick.
Yep.
So breadcrumb mojito. I don't think I've spoken to you about the breadcrumb mojito moment.
No, you haven't. No.
So it's we've sat here and we've talked about sort of successes and what our aspirations are and things like that. That I always like to finish on a humble note and kind of remembering that every seed starts in the dirt.
Yep.
So my first ever shift on a bar, my very first order was 8 mojitos. Thought I knew what I was doing. I picked up a bag thinking it was brown sugar. Turned out to be breadcrumbs. I put that in there, muddled it in.
Oh, that's how it came about. Okay. I like that.
And so
it was a mistake, but it also brought this.
It did. And so I just made a horrific mess and wasted a whole bunch of rum. And so I like to find out a breadcrumb mojito moment from you, if I may.
Okay, yeah, true. Oh, God. I feel like I have to think back. There's quite a lot of different ones. Very cool moment. I think I'm trying to think now. Actually, I'm trying to think one that's pretty obvious. Because I have many other stories for other reasons, but that I can remember because of those ones that I always remember. Probably... it wasn't really necessarily to do with bartending, but it was at work.
Yeah, okay.
It was actually at one of my jobs here in New Zealand, and we had a spanner, like your tool, and it was always there, like kept at a certain spot. And one day I was tidying up, moving things around, and I moved it. And at the time, I didn't remember moving it, so it's kept in a certain spot. I'd basically moved it into one of the cutlery boxes that was on the side and left it in this little cutlery box, which basically was like a wine bucket, but had a cutlery in it. And I put it in there, forgot about it. My boss goes, "Has anyone seen the spanner?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I don't know, I haven't seen it in ages." And then everyone was like, no idea. And then she decides to go check the cameras. It was the day before, and she checked the cameras. And there was me tidying up. And I just put it in the cutlery box. And I just forgot about it. And she put the video in the group chat and was like, "Hollie, you're the culprit. You lied." And I was like, "I didn't lie. I just forgot."
At least the spanner didn't go get lined up with the cutlery on the table.
No, I was like, oops. But it's because we had 3 different ones. One was forks, one was spoons, one was knives. And I know I just, in my head at the time, I was tidying and I don't know, I just put it in there. I didn't even think anything of it. I put it in with the knives, I think. And I was just like, oh. And and I was like, "I didn't do it." And she was like, she did the video, she was like, "You bloody did." And I was like, "Oh." So it was one of those moments. Another one probably also was I was supposed to be making 10 daiquiris and I made 10 gimlets. I don't know why.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Don't know why. My recipe just I was like, I was doing something. Someone was talking to me, asking me something. Yeah, and I started pouring gin on all these cocktails, and I was like, I just make gimmels, not daiquiris. But yeah, that was probably a number one as well.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Marvelous.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's about it. But
amazing. Thank you very much for your time. We won't hold you up too much longer. Got to get to work.
Unfortunately.
Time to run a busy Saturday shift. And
we've got a couple of bookings in today, so hope that'll keep us busy.
Amazing. Lovely. All right, Hollie. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
See you later. Catch you later. Come see me at hospo.
There we go. Jump down hospo. We'll also put we can put a link in the bio about the McKellen event that you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
get some
you
people
guys
popping up.
Come try my cocktail. Hive.
Amazing. And the pop up at Caretaker as well.
Yeah, Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Sunday the 20th of July, Tiki Takeover. If you're wanting some rum, wanting some Jameson, because it's sponsored by Jameson, and some just tiki drinks, you know where to find me. Bring your best party shirt.
There we go. Happy days, people. We'll see you there. Ciao.
All right.
Amazing.
That's it for this week's episode of the Breadcrumb Mojito podcast. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at the Breadcrumb Mojito podcast and look out for next week's episode.